Hi, this is Michael. I've been working on doing some SAT verbal approaches. I've modeled the reading and writing sections in previous videos. I've done this for some friends of mine over at Reddit, and also put together a general approach for the verbal section, especially the reading, which has a lot of strategies that I hope you found helpful. One of the students, and I invited this, sent me a bubble sheet on practice test 1, the writing section, and I want to go over the ones she got wrong. I'm only going to do the ones she got wrong, so I'm going to worry about them and not go through each passage. Just keep this short, and maybe this will help you too, because I think she got wrong ones that are more difficult here, which is where you want to be. So I'm going to move this over to my tablet here, and we'll take a peek at it. So here we go. Okay, we got practice test 1. I'm going to move down to the writing section, and here is the writing section. I'm going to go straight to question number 2, which she got wrong here. Okay, which choice provides the most relevant detail? When we look at number 2, what I want to do is always I want to see how are these questions similar to each other and how are they different. I look here, I go, okay, I got a comma, supplement, comma, so they can feed it as livestock to protein. Sorry, they can add it to livestock feed as protein, supplement, comma, and people can blah, blah, blah. Supplement, no comma, comma, comma. And I notice that I have these are actual independent clauses here on the first 3, and this one does not. It just gives me supplement and convert. I got another verb there. So I see they can add it. So I got a verb there. And then I got, and people can make, I've got a verb, more is a verb, is a verb, and I have and convert as a verb. So I know that they're using verbs differently here. And I see, now, just because this one is different doesn't mean the others are wrong. Oftentimes that's the case, but not always. So now we take a peek at the context here. So the sentence before is because it says the most relevant detail. So relevant meaning it's got to be contextual. To address the problem of disposal, farmers have found a number of uses for acid whey. They can add it, they, being farmers, always speak the noun, that the pronoun is proing. So farmers can add it, add what? Acid whey to livestock feed as protein. Now, what are we talking about? They want to address the problem of disposal. They found a number of uses. So in other words, my next sentence needs to give me those uses. So they can add it to livestock feed as protein, supplement, and people can make their own. Well, that's not a use for it. So it's not A. And let's skip B. While sweet whey is more desirable for humans, no, that's not an example of what farmers can do with whey. They can add it to livestock feed as protein, and which important element of the diet? It might be, but that's not giving a secondary use, because it's just saying, well, if you give it to the livestock, it's a protein supplement and that provides an element of the diet. That too doesn't give me another use. Now notice how B works. Farmers can add it to livestock feed, and they can convert it into gas. So it's B, those are 2 uses. So we got one subject, they can add it, the object, acid whey, and convert it, the object, acid whey, verb, verb. Okay, moving on. Number 6, she got wrong here. Considering deleting the underlined sentence, should the writer do this? So always speak in terms of yes, delete, no, keep. So get rid of, it's kind of backwards. You have to sort of think backwards, and sometimes they mix it up. So they say yes, delete, or no, delete, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we're looking at this now. This is a topic sentence. So topic sentences are always connecting backwards to the prior paragraph, and then they're always connecting forward to what's in the rest of the paragraph. So I assume it's a topic sentence. Therefore, I'm going to measure, well, what went on in the prior paragraph? Well, it talks about all the problems with developing it and what they're trying to do to not pollute. And then what goes on in the rest of the paragraph, ignoring this sentence here, nutritionist, oh, it's really good for people. Okay, so we're going with the problems it had in the environment and then why it's good for people. So one thing I can do is I can do yes, yes, no, no, but I can also look at the reasons and forget the yes, yes, no, no. So do you delete it because it does not provide a transition? Well, it does provide a transition from the other paragraph, so that's wrong. Delete it because it fails to support the main argument of the passage introduced in the first paragraph. Why would it be supporting the main argument? And it certainly doesn't fail to. Remember, this thing is called way to go, so it's, oh, we should go with way. So that does sort of support it, and that's regardless, because it's got to support this paragraph anyway. So I want to get rid of those, and therefore I know I want to keep it. Now let's see why. So don't delete it. because it continues explanation of how acid weight can be disposed of safely. No, it doesn't, because that's what it did in the other paragraph, and you're not going to repeat that, but it sets up the argument in the paragraph for the benefits of it by making the connection. So we go with 6D on that one. All right, number nine. So here we have transition words. So what I do is I delete that up there, and I just write this also. Or put your thumb on it. You know, you're working on paper, you want to keep it, but just ignore that, okay? So first thing I consider, are these transitions also, does that support it? Yeah, that's positive. It's not contrasting. In other words, yeah, that's expressing it. Therefore is drawing a conclusion. And for instance, so these are all kind of adding to the idea. None of them are contrasting it, such as however or something like that. So let's see what we got. So, oh, it's a stupid long sentence. Nutrition is considered to be healthy, blah, blah. It's got non-fat forms. Greek yogurt is slightly lower in sugar and carbohydrates than conventional yogurt is. All right, so it's all about the health. It's lower in sugar and carbohydrates. And then something, because it's more concentrated, contains slightly more protein. So the containing protein is not a result of sugar and carbohydrates. Therefore, that's not an example of it. And that's not expressing the same thing in another word. So I go with also, whether I liked it or not. So that's number 9. We want to go with A also. Next one is number 11. So here we got a couple rules. We got a colon, I got a comma, and I have a comma there for. Oh, actually, I apologize. She got this right. Good for you, student. Yes, this one is real easy. This is a subordinating clause, conjunction, and that takes a sentence, consumers reap the nutritional benefits. That would be subordinated into a dependent clause by adding the word because, and that's repetitive to add the word therefore, because and therefore. So we on number 11, we get down to the correct answer, it, and then farmers. So good job on that one. Sorry, you got that one right. Yay. You did get 14. Another transition word type thing. So for example, we're going to ignore it up there. For example, so that's expressing more additional information. However, it's contrasting. As such is expressing more. As such and for example and moreover. These are kind of synonymous. Actually, for example is not really. As such, moreover might be synonymous. If they're synonymous, if they're clearly synonymous, I can delete both of them, because it can't both be right. But they look kind of synonymous to me, so I'm just going to probably not. But anyway, let's see what's going on. Typically, the ice sheets begin to show evidence of thawing in late summer, I'm following my correct answer up there, in the summer of 2012. I'm sorry, following higher temperatures. Okay, so typically, ice sheet shows evidence of thawing in the late summer following higher temperatures. And then something in the summer of 2012, so I'm getting an example of it, so it might be an example. Virtually the entire Greenland ice sheet underwent thawing at or near surface by mid-July, the earliest date on record. Oh, wait a minute, that makes it distinct. So it's not an example of when it typically melts. It's showing me a contrast to it, so I have to go with the one that contrasts, because all these connect to it, and these, by the way, are pretty much synonymous. Okay, number 16. So here we have it's a pretty easy rule. I got a colon, semicolon, and I got a semicolon here. Remember the rule of semicolons, all of them, colon, semicolon, dash, they have to have an independent clause before them, and a comma and a conjunction. Okay, so a semicolon, however, must have an independent clause after it. So I look at the semicolons here and here, and this is not an independent clause. It does not have a subject and a verb. Doesn't have it. Therefore, B and where's the other semicolon? A are wrong. Okay, so now I just have to look between here. So is it a semicolon thaw? Do I need the word being? This is a 100% rule. 100% of the time, the word being is not going to be acceptable to the SAT writers. Okay, hope that's clear. Number 17. Oh, actually, I misread the bubble sheet. You did get that one right. So, and we went over it anyway, but at least we got to clarify that being is 100% wrong. I hope you knew that why. So number 17, sorry, your bubble sheet was a little unclear. It looks like you did get that correct. 17 should be, let's see. All right, so here we have comma, some of it drifted soot. Well, this is a little bit complicated, so let's see what's going on. The one way you might do this is to sort of simplify the sentence. So according to Box, all right, so Box, that's all, preparatory or subordinate clause informing the sentence. So let's get the Thunder Fires, subject, blah, 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 North America, produce, verb. What they produce? They produce soot. Subject, verb, object, soot. Okay? Subject, verb, object, soot. Now, when I look at this and then I say, is this an independent clause? So some of it drifted. That is an independent clause. I notice that I do not have a conjunction between soot and some. So A cannot be right because I got two independent clauses and I have to have a comma and a conjunction, and I don't, so therefore A is wrong. Now, soot does the same thing. If I do some soot, well, soot, subject, drifted, verb, this is a verb, that can't be right either. Of which, soot, comma, of which, let's skip that. Let's just text out the delete, the underlined portion, and go back and forth between the ones that are clear to you. So get rid of it. So we just have some drifted. Some becomes a subject, verb, drifted. I have to eliminate that because I do not have a conjunction. So we need to have that conjunction there. So that means that I eliminate down to C. But why is C correct? Because the word which does a couple things. It is a conjunction, and it is a subject, and it is also a pronoun referring back to what? Usually, subject, verb, object, when we have a comma and then which, carrying on that, usually that pronoun is to the object of the prior sentence because it makes sense. You say, this did that, and you say, well, what did that do? Well, that did the other thing. And that turns in that object into a pronoun reference here, starting a new independent clause. So we go with of which. That is number 17. Number 19. So this one is, we look here, get rid of the easy elimination. It is, so that's wrong. So limiting it is ability, expand the contraction. So that's wrong. It's there, get rid of that one because it's there. It's not a position, it's not someplace. So we're dealing with the two forms of possessive, so singular and plural possessive. Okay, now there and it's. Now I got to find out, well, what is being possessed here? So again, thinking back on my rule about, I got this sort of extended sentence here, something is limiting something's ability to reflect the sun. Usually that refers back to the objects. Let's test it out. Scientists have long known that soot particles facilitate, so soot particles, subject, verb, melting, right? They facilitate melting by darkening snow and ice. These are my objects. So if snow and ice limit the ability to reflect the sun's rays, yeah, limiting its ability to reflect the sun's rays. So what are we referring to? The soot particles facilitate melting by darkening. Oh, they're darkening the snow and ice, which then reflect their ability to reflect the sun's rays. Okay, so we go with D on that one. Number 22. Let's see what we got here. All right, we got sentence number 4. We know it's sentence placement's coming because of that. The easiest way to look at this is say, well, what is the, look at highlight my sentence and look for a chronology here. So box is currently. He's also looking for something that we call a determinant, this. So oftentimes when I was, my kids were younger, they would come and they say to me, Dad, this guy told me something really cool. I'm like, what guy? This guy or that guy? Because you didn't tell me about a guy. So say a guy told me something really cool. So when we have these determinants, that means we're referring to something that's been previously stated. So we must have stated before here certain crucial information. Now he's currently, I'm going to assume that currently is going to happen later in the paragraph. So after sentence, it's not going to be, probably not 1, 2, because chronology would make sense because we go through here. So his research is important for a reason. According to scientists, these two are connected. And then where we keep it here, the pattern you observe in 20 may repeat itself, and he's currently, that might go here, but look at 5. The next step for Box's team is to travel to Greenland. Is that follow that he's currently? It might. It could be, right? What are they going to do as the next step? To perform direct sampling of ice in order to determine just how much the soot is contributing to the melting of ice sheet. Oh, there's my crucial information. So 4 goes after 5. So that's 22 needs to be D. Now 26. We've got 26 to quiz. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky, and I don't know if this is a hard rule, but let's see how this works. Okay, so we've got the space is usually stocked with standard office equipment, comma, such as blah, 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 no punctuation, such as colon, such as no punctuation, comma, such as, comma, such as, comma. Okay, so the way I would approach this one is I say, okay, so do I need a pause in between equipment and such as? I think I do, because we say the spaces are stocked with equipment. Pause, such as, blah, blah, blah. Now, I do not need a pause after the such as, so I wouldn't put a pause there. I just want to get rid of all those pauses, so I go with a such as. Now, the other thing is that the words such as and a colon kind of do the same thing, so you wouldn't need a colon after such as. So that's the way I look at 26. It's a little confusing, but get used to these kind of tricky questions. This is about as hard as you're going to get on this test, to be kind of confusing. But think through also the natural way the words flow, and that'll help you do that. And essentially, when you follow such as, you can't have punctuation separating them because these are required to make sense of the sentence. Again, a requisite phrase, which they use a lot of time on this test. Next up is 38, and then we'll do 39. Great job on this. 38 and 39. 38. Oh, we have transition words again. Okay, so it's interesting because you got 3 transition questions wrong so far. That means that that's a really good thing to do because there's a pattern to your mistakes. So we need to work on transition words. So I take the word therefore, put it there. Therefore is extending, so it's positive. Thus is drawing a conclusion. Wait, therefore and thus are synonymous, so they can't both be right. I can test that out, but they're positive. Moreover, explaining again, and however, saying but, right? So that's negative. So let's test these two out. Okay, a 94 survey concluded that only 18% of American colleges required at least one philosophy course. Okay, so only 18% of colleges have a philosophy course. Between 92 and 96, so that's 94, more than 400 independent philosophy departments were eliminated from institutions. Oh, so they're extending that idea. We're not contradicting it. So I'm not going to, contradicting it. So I'm going to extend it and say not only do only 18% of colleges require only one philosophy course, they've been dropping them. So, and then the word only is really our key because we're kind of limiting that. So on 38, we're going to go with C, moreover, because we're emphasizing the point made prior. Okay, and then 39, we've got combining the sentences. Okay, so typically the shortest answer is going to be the correct one. This is what I call an 80-20 rule. 20% of the time it won't be the correct answer, but it has to be for a grammatical reason or some logic reason. But usually 80% of the time the shortest one is the correct one. And also they tend to have redundancies built into these. Now I don't know if there's a redundancy here or not, but I look at here, I go analytical writing measured, right? Writing as measured. That certainly works, right? So, but both studies have found that students who major in philosophy often do better than students for other majors in both verbal reasoning and analytical writing as measured. Oh, so studies have found. So this is telling me how the studies measured it. Okay, I think A is going to be right, but let's test the others. Writing, comma, and these results can be. So I got a comma and a conjunction. I got a comma and a conjunction. Writing when these results are. Let's see if I can eliminate these. So when these results are measured, can be measured, can also be. Well, why did it be also measured? Because the studies have found this. So I think logically we can get rid of these, but let's see if there's a grammatical rule for it here. So I'm going to go writing, comma, and these results can be. Why would I repeat these results? Studies have found those are the results. That's redundant. So it's not really a grammatical exclusion here, but it is, which can also be the results. So I want to eliminate those and get down to, on this 139, I want to go with A. The shortest fits. Studies have found blah, 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 as measured by standardized test scores. Okay, great job. Again, what you want to do is you want to find the pattern to your own mistakes that you might be making and see that happen over and over again. That helps you with the logic of this test. It helps you see where you can fix your own patterns and also identify the patterns in the test itself. So great job. And anyone else has some questions? If I have time, I'll do this. Okay, I don't always have time, but I'm here to help in the midst of what I do. And again, what I do is I just help students do better in school. I work with middle, high school, and college students, and we work on any topic, any subject. The reason why I've come to know the SAT is because it's been an obstacle for a lot of my kids trying to get into college, and I want to make sure that they have the highest chance of success. So I've learned the SAT test, and I'm just trying to share my my learning here. Okay, and student who sent this in, great job. I know you're not going to repeat the same kind of mistakes. See ya.